Welcome back, and now to the stories in detail. Nigerian head coach Austin Eguavon has criticized Ojoni Gallo and Emmanuel Dennis for not showing enough desire to represent the country at the 2021 African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Gallo and Dennis were named in the 28-man squad for the competition, but their clubs refused to release them for the competition. The Super Eagles will face the Pharaohs of Egypt in the opening games of the 2021 African Cup of Nations final at Adija Stadium in Garua later today. Moving on, a Sadio Mane penalty 7 minutes into the added time enabled the lackluster Senegal beat Zimbabwe 1-0 in the African Cup of Nations Group B opener. The defeat was harsh on Zimbabwe, who made one of the tournament's favorites look distinctly ordinary in yesterday's game. The 4th minute of stoppage time, Kelvin Manzogwe was adjudged to have handled the ball as he turned his back on a strike from Pape Gueye. Liverpool forward Mane rifled home to give Senegal the perfect start. Senegal came into the tournament seeking a First Nations Cup crown after losing the 2019 finals to Algeria, but was far from their best, only being able to name 17 players out of 28 players through a mix of COVID cases and injuries. Meanwhile, Sofiane Boufal, its second-minute strike, handed Morocco a narrow win over Group C rivals Ghana in the African Cup of Nations opener. Guinea also opened their African Cup of Nations campaign with a 1-0 win over spirited Malawi side. The only goal of the game came from left-back Isenga Sila, slotted in 10th minute before the break after a good hold-up play by striker Jose Kante, while Irona Bamzagba first half finish was the difference as Gabon edged past African Cup of Nations debutant Comoros in Group C. Gabon forward Luis Omeka latched onto a loose ball before playing in Bozepsa to strike from a tight angle after 16th minute. Moving on, Manchester United booked an FA Cup round meeting with Middlesbrough as Scott McTominay 8-minute header proved enough to beat Aston Villa at Old Trafford. McTominay was allowed to run unchallenged to the edge of the Villa 6-yard box where he met Fred's perfectly weighted cross to steer the ball past Emiliano Martinez. The goal condemned Villa boss Steven Gerrard to an unhappy return to Manchester, where he was baited by home supporters because of his allegiance to Liverpool. However, the result was incredibly harsh on Gerrard and his team. Twice in a matter of minutes early in the second period, they had the ball in United net, only for both to be ruled out. The second was a straightforward offside goal against Danny Ings. Albeit the flags was not raised until Oli Wilson had put the ball in the back of the net. Moving on, still talking football, the Premier League has said a positive COVID-19 test has fallen for the second successive weeks in 7 days up to including 9th January. There were 72 new positive cases among Premier League players, and start from a total of 12,973 tests. The figure is down from 94 cases recorded in the previous 7 days. The figures was the first time decrease in cases have been recorded by the Premier League for 8 weeks. Everton Premier League home match with Leicester on Tuesday has been postponed because of the Foxes do not have enough players to fulfill the fixtures. It's the 19 top-flight games of this season to be postponed due to COVID-19 related reasons. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we have more sports stories on sport around the world. Welcome back. Now to the next story. Tennis superstar Novak Djokovic trained at the Australian Open venue Tuesday in search of a record 21 Grand Slam, but his dream hung in the balance as the government pondered cancelling his visa again. The world number one has scored a surprise courtroom victory the day before overturning the Australian government's decision to cancel his visa on COVID-19 vaccination ground, but the immigration minister said he may annul Djokovic's visa once more. The unvaccinated 34-year-old Serbian ace says he's determined to stay in Melbourne and compete in the Australian Open, which starts in 6 days' time. Wearing a t-shirt and shorts, he limbered up in a gym on Tuesday, accompanied by coach Goran Ivkovic, before heading to the courts at AFP television. Cameras filmed him from the helicopters as he played. Djokovic, a 9-time Australian Open champion, jetted into the country 6 days ago carrying a medical exemption from vaccination due to positive coronavirus test on December 16th last year. Moving on to the next story, Emil Kursres said he had mixed emotion after he matched Mo Farah's British record for the 10,000 meters in Valencia on Sunday. The 4-year-old Leeds City runner ran at 27 meters 4 seconds, equal to the time Farah ran in London 2010. Kursres, who is now going to Kenya for a month of warm weather training, said his goal for the year is to compete in one of the major championships. Olympics 800-meter silver medalist Kelly Hodgson and triathlon champions Alistair and Johnny Brawley are among the other athletes who will train at Leeds City. Moving on, talking rugby, Harlequins number 8 Alexa Dumbrat has signed a new long-term contract with the Premiership club. The 4-year-old England international has scored 250 points in 87 appearances for the club since making a debut in 2018. Dumbrat scored a try in Queen's Premiership final victory against Exeter Chiefs last season and had 10 tries in 10 matches this term. The club has not specified the length of the contract. Dumbrat told Queen's website that is excited to have re-signed for the club. Dumbrat joins Harlequins from Cardiff Met University in 2018. He has 2 caps for England from wins over Canada and Tonga last year. Moving on, still talking rugby, English club hope to get a dispensation on quarantine rules before they commit to playing in France this weekend. Bath and Sale play La Rochelle and Clermont respectively in the Champions Cup, with Newcastle at Bridge in one of Friday's Challenge Cup games. For all 3 clubs have expressed concern over the 48-hour quarantine requirement on arrival in France. The tournament organizer is in talk with French authorities, with more news expected in the next 24 hours. The French Sport Ministry will attempt to get 2-day quarantine requirements lifted for English teams as the governmental meeting on Tuesday. France recently loosed a strict travel ban on visitors from the UK, but it now requires all travelers to self-isolate 48 hours, which is after a 48 hours negative PCR test or antigen test is required to exit self-isolation. On this note, we'll take another short break, and when we come back, we still have more for you on Sports Around the World. Welcome back. Now to the next story, talking football. Former Turkey international defender Ahmet Salik has died at the age of 27. Salik, who was playing for Turkish Super League side Konyaspor and spent 3 seasons with Galatasaray, was killed in a car accident on Tuesday. An investigation has been launched to ascertain the cause of the accident. Salik, who started his career with the local club Galatasaray, made more than 50 appearances for Galatasaray during a 3-year spell before joining Konyaspor in 2020, where he has made 51 appearances. The centre-back earned 8 senior caps for Turkey between 2015 and 2017 after processing through the youth teams. Turkish FA in a statement says it is with deep sadness that they learned about the death of Ahmet Salik. Galatasaray and Turkey national team also paid tribute to Salik on social media. Moving on to the next story, still talking football, Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah has said he is not asking for crazy stuff in ongoing contract and negotiation. The Egypt international, who turns 30 in June, has fewer than 18 months left on his current deal, said it was up to the club to show appreciation for what he has helped them achieve. Salah has previously stated his desire to stay with the club. Salah, who has helped fire Liverpool to both Champions League and Premier League triumphs since signing in 2017. Asked whether if it was an ambition to be recognized as the best player in the world, Salah has scored 148 times for Liverpool, said if he was asked, he would ask that it was a driver for him to be in Liverpool. Salah, currently on international duty at African Cup of Nations with Egypt, is set to play against Nigeria later today. Moving on, still talking football, Tottenham Hotspur has spoken to Manchester United and England midfielder Jesse Lingard's camp about a potential move to Tottenham Hotspur this summer. The 20-year-old is out of contract at Old Trafford at the end of the season. Lingard's United future remains uncertain given his lack of appearances in the 2021-2022 campaign, as restricted to just 4 minutes as a substitute during Monday's FA Cup third-round victory over Aston Villa at Old Trafford. He's yet to start a Premier League game this season. It has been a major disappointment for Lingard, who was persuaded to remain at Old Trafford in the summer by former boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the basis that he will get more opportunities. It is understood that Lingard has no intention of leaving United during this month's transfer window. Moving on, still talking football, Egypt's captain Mohamed Salah says that Nigeria is blessed with quality and they are one of the favorites for the African Cup of Nations. Salah is expected to be in action as Egypt and Nigeria will trade tackles in Group D opener in Garoua later today. Speaking at the post-match conference, Liverpool forward stated that he's blessed with talent in all departments, but the Pharaohs will try their best to win the game. The last time Egypt met Nigeria at the African Cup of Nations was in 2010, and the Pharaohs ran out 3-1 winners. Chinedu Obasi Obuke opened the scoring for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but Egypt bounced back to win that game with goals from Emad Mateb, Ahmed Hassan, and Mohamed Zidane. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up on sports around the world. Right, welcome back. Rounding up now, Andy Murray says that it's positive that Novak Djokovic has been released from detention in Australia, but the step still has a question to answer. World number one Djokovic, 34, won a court battle at overturned the visa cancellation on Monday, a week before the Australian Open is set to start. But Australian border officials are investigating whether his travel entry form included a false declaration. Djokovic's travel declaration form, which all visitors have to complete 3 to 7 days before arrival, stated he did not travel in 14 days before his flight to Australia. However, social media posts appears to show him in both the Serbian capital Belgrade and Spain during the period. It's on this note we'll wrap it up on today's edition of Sport Around the World. I'm in Austin Arome. Bye for now.